Hello everyone, back again with Girl Crime Recaps. In this video, I'm going to recap one of the horrors, a drama series from 2013, titled Supernatural. Before we get to the storyline, please remember to like and subscribe to our channel. Now sit back, relax and enjoy the movie. The plot of the show transports us to a world of the paranormal where brothers Dean and Sam Winchester battle supernatural evil while traveling around the USA. This time, the evil hunters head to Minnesota, where something is mutilating and completely removing the fat from the bodies of obese people. The episode opens with a hot dog eating competition in the town of Stillwater. The contest is won by a fat man with one hot dog over the challenger. The man who came in second is dissatisfied with the outcome and claims that his rival cheated, but the big man still wins. He then exits to his car to consume the secret hot dog that had unfairly aided him. In the back of the automobile, a hooded stranger materializes and attacks the man with a vacuum-like attack. He consumes the fat of the obese man till his body is completely drained. The Winchester brothers learn about the fat man from Minnesota's unexplained demise. The brothers are convinced that extraterrestrial entities posing as FBI agents were involved after learning through the internet that the man shed 100 kilograms during his death. To learn more about the details of the murder, they visit the Minnesota Department of Investigation. An autopsy confirms this. The internal organs of the victim are hurt as if his life had been sucked out of him. The Winchesters are informed by a female sheriff that the man participated actively in eating competitions and never missed one. He had a foe by the name of Skinny Jim. Jim was immediately suspected by the police since the victim was the only person in Stillwater that he was unable to defeat. But he has a defense. He was in the dining room when the murder occurred, according to numerous witnesses. To make sure Skinny Jim is innocent, the Winchester family decides to question him directly. He is confident that his opponent received justice in his death and is not very saddened by it. Dean draws attention to the magical artifacts on the shelves behind the man. Jim explains to the brothers that these are the talismans of his wife, Mola, who is of gypsy descent. Without talking, the brothers test Mola for any connection to evil forces. While Dean distracts Jim with questions about the contest, Sam discreetly sneaks into the couple's bedroom to find evidence. He notices an unusual pouch on the bedside table and takes it with him to examine. Once they're done looking for evidence, the brothers leave Jim their card in case he remembers anything else about the day of the murder. Inside the pouch, the Winchesters find human hair and various magic items. Sam finds on the internet that gypsies commonly use such bags to cast spells. The brothers decide that this is how Mola helps her husband eliminate the competition. However, she comes to the Winchesters for her bag and tells them a completely different story. As it turns out, Mola loved the victim and had been cheating on her husband with him for years, despite his being overweight. It was only with him that she could feel loved. Mola wanted to help her love her to win the contest so that she could divorce her husband, so she cast a spell on him, hoping that after that she could leave with her. Over to another state, the Winchesters realize they've got the wrong suspect and need to look elsewhere for the supernatural trail. Meanwhile, a woman works out late into the night at a local gym to lose weight before her wedding. When she finishes, she gets on the scale to check her results. Suddenly, she hears strange noises and looks around to see where they are coming from. The killer attacks his victim again from behind and knocks her to the ground. The last thing she sees before she dies is some creature crawling under her clothes and sucking the life out of her, deflating her body like a balloon. The next day, the Winchesters arrive at the scene. This time, they manage to examine the corpse and notice a big red stain on the dead woman's body, like a mark from a suction cup. They learn from the police officer that the murdered woman had also lost several dozen pounds at the time of her death. Dean interrogates the trainer who was supposed to be closing the gym last night. In tears, she blames herself for leaving work early and being unable to save her client. When she turns around to get a tissue, Dean notices the same stain on her waist on the victim's body. At the end of the day, the Winchesters discuss what they've learned. It turns out that a similar spot for siphoning fat was also the first person who was killed. A connection is finally made between the victims. They all had their body fat sucked out. Dean discovers that the gym trainer used to be overweight too, but lost it. After a visit to a Canyon Valley spa, he and his brother watch a commercial for the resort where a beautiful married couple enticingly suggests that overweight people lose weight without grueling workouts or stiff diets. The brothers come to Canyon Valley pretending to be job applicants. Since there was only one job for a trainer, only Sam was hired. Dean is assigned to the kitchen to prepare a healthy breakfast for clients. The local sheriff comes to the resort to get her body in shape. The establishment's owner, Maritza, takes her to the treatment room to put on slimming jars. She warns the client that the procedure may leave red spots and bruises on her body. In the process, the sheriff relaxes and slowly falls asleep. After waiting for the client to pass out completely, Maritza reveals her true identity. A worm with a huge toothy mouth crawls out of her mouth and sucks the fat out of the sleeping woman's waist, sucking the fat out of her body. The older Winchester is constantly scolded in the kitchen for not doing a good job. Angry and hungry, Dean decides to steal the pudding meant for the spa's customers. While no one is watching, he eats the treat and immediately regrets it. He begins to lose touch with reality and faints. In the meantime, Sam conducts his first yoga practice, which the clients aren't thrilled about. As the resort guests get into a dog pose, he notices that each has red marks on their backs. After training, Sam gets a call from the Dean half-dead, asking him to save him. The younger brother finds Dean in a food warehouse, telling him that he has been poisoned with something. Furious, Sam interrogates the cook and discovers the pudding. Special additives to speed up his metabolism. Dean gradually comes to his senses and examines the jar of additives more closely. He informs his brother that they are not supplements, but strong sleeping pills added to the customer's food. The Winchesters decide to question the sheriff, who has recently returned from treatment at this diabolical resort. She brags to the brothers that she was able to lose 5 pounds in one day, which perplexes them. She tells them that her husband left her because she was overweight and that her visit to the spa is an attempt to feel beautiful again. Therefore, she is not embarrassed that the fat leaves her body so quickly. The brothers tell her that all the victims are connected by red marks on their bodies. The sheriff shows her lower back and says she was left with the same spot from a spot treatment that the establishment owner gave her. She admits that she ate pudding before the treatment, after which she slept through the entire session and felt nothing in the process. Meanwhile, Maritza learns from her husband that Dean and Sam are not workers but ghost hunters. In a panic, she runs to her office to get rid of the jars of client fat that are stored in the refrigerator. Unable to help herself from the sight of the grease, she lets the worm out again to feast on it. Dean finds her and arranges an interrogation. Maritza tells the older Winchester her story. She is Pistago, a Peruvian creature that feeds on human fat. She assures the hunter that she did not kill anyone, but rather parasitized human bodies. She and her husband opened Canyon Valley so that people could lose excess weight and she could freely obtain food from them. She admits that her brother Alonzo, who works as a cook at the resort, may be behind the killings of overweight people. Meanwhile, Marika's husband finds her brother and orders him out of the establishment before he ruins their family business, mocking Alonzo. He tells him that his sister doesn't want to see him anymore. This causes him to become enraged and he kills his brother-in-law. Sam finds the man's bloody corpse and informs Maritza in tears. After her husband's death, Maritza tells the Winchesters the whole truth about Alonzo. She left Peru with her brother, hoping for a better life in which they would not be monsters. They agreed to coexist peacefully with ordinary people and only eat enough fat to satisfy their hunger. But Alonzo did not like the idea of dividing his food into portions, and gradually he began to lose control of his actions once during a routine. For treatment, he almost killed a client. After that, Alonzo was transferred to work in the kitchen to limit his contact with people. But the more Maritza forbade her brother, the more he felt hungry and angry. Soon he was entirely out of control and began killing ordinary people to end the brutal murders of innocents. Maritza reveals that her brother may be hiding in the basement from the Winchesters. Armed with flashlights and silver knives, the brothers descend into the basement. Along the way, they find empty grease cans and the corpse of one of the cooks. Sam notices bloody footprints and moves forward faster than his brother. Alonzo throws a cabinet over him and piles it on top of him. He releases a worm from his mouth, trying to stick to Sam, but he throws it aside. The fat makes Alonzo stronger and faster, so the younger Winchester has difficulty tracking his movements through the dark basement. He tries to provoke Alonzo's negative emotions and says that now Maritza thinks Hayes is a monster too. Immediately he reacts to this and a fight breaks out between him and Sam. Enraged, Alonzo easily defeats his opponent and tries again to suck the life out of Sam, but Dean comes to his brother's rescue and cuts the worm. With Alonzo taking his life after all this, the cops arrive on the scene. The brothers lie to the sheriff and tell him that the murders are the work of a homicidal maniac. Sam tries to comfort Maritza, who has lost her entire family in one day. Dean notices this and calls his brother over to him. He tells him he will put Maritza to rest with her family after all the cops leave the establishment. Sam refuses to kill her and convinces his older brother to show mercy to the monster. Dean agrees to keep Maritza alive on the condition that she return to Peru without a return ticket back home. The Winchesters discuss the problems in their family relationship. Sam is tired of Dean only seeing him as a younger brother and rescuing him whenever he is in danger. He admits to his brother that sometimes he is ready to die and wants to make his own choice whether to live or not. On the other hand, Dean is sure that he is doing everything right, and if he were in danger himself, his younger brother would save him too. Contrary to the Dean's expectations, Sam is not sure he would have saved his brother had he been on the verge of death. A heavy pause hangs between the Winchesters and Sam leaves Dean alone. You guys are fantastic if you have seen this far in the video. If our girl crime recaps amuse you, please ring the notification bell and click the subscribe button. Thank you.